I'd like to take this opportunity to really let you get to know me and my story of American reality. The reality is, if you grow up on the side of the road across from the power plant, starving for information, maybe you have 3 sets of encyclopedias, for example. You know, like Encyclopedia Brown. Maybe you know that book. Maybe do you even read books anymore? There's that book, Encyclopedia Brown. And then there's another book. There's many. Oh yeah, remember those things? They stay fixed in space, and you can focus on them, and you can derive the knowledge at your own pace, and you can decide the cadence, you can decide the rhythm, you can decide the speed that the knowledge enters your brain. It's not cut up and force-fed at you with little sugar-coated sound bites and beautiful music, happy music that tells you to ask your doctor about. Ask your doctor about and perpetuate the myth that this is, after all, the American ideal. And you're home now, aren't you? Happy to be here, clearly. In my case, I study those encyclopedias cover to cover. And I discovered at the end of the Walt Disney series, there's a bank of faces, little characters documenting our American contribution to the lexicon, Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse, let's say, is documented. This is what he looks like in his original format or version in 1901 or 21 or whatever it happens to be. Look it up, Alexa, if you want to know the actual detail. The point is that this bank of faces is, in fact, a grid that documents that the idea of Mickey Mouse actually changed over time. You know, like that acronym COT that soldiers sleep on when they're defending and mending your flag and American ideals. And in my case, I took it upon myself to take these thoughts and right angles and vertical, horizontal, and depths of field and convert them into a philosophy based on the Bauhaus, which is an acronym that means business as usual, where the artists we can see, you cannot see. Oh, say, can you see? You cannot see. We're afraid of Hitler, so we're going to go over to Paris. Oh, Paris is burning, so now we're going to go on to New York. And Walter G. Gropius ends up in Harvard, and he's the reason your buildings are shaped like boxes, and that you can know where you are in New York City at the cross hatch of boulevards and avenues with numbers and names like 5th and Broadway, for example. That Broadway Boogie Woogie, the painting by Mondrian that seems so rebellious, and yet is actually a drone's eye view of New York City. Where in 1989, an electronic sign over the 5th Avenue was documenting your American debt that at that time was rising. And I quote Mama Laurie Anderson, who tells us all in her personal service announcement series, clearly, that the American debt at that time in history was rising at the hair-raising rate of $8,000 per second. Now, I don't know about you, but as a candidate, can deed, because we can, can't we? It's in the can, mister. Can't we? Can. Oh, it's a film festival at Cannes. Oh, they're all in little tin cans. Look at those cans. They're so neat and red and white and tight and stable. You would never know that child that created them shook like a gold leaf book with St. Vitus dance. he loved you enough to devise a book himself called Interlochen Arts Academy. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Interlochen Arts Academy at all. I mean, that should be a chain link fence across the country because you don't know how to imagine an Interlochen Arts Academy could solve that petit problemo in my pequeño estamido mindset. However, that digression simply underlines and points to the fact that the magazine, the document he created, the institution he left behind, was devised to make sure that your star culture survives. So we placed the young fledgling star so that she's not a spark, just a flash in the pan. She might live and make a contribution, a mark, a change, progress. And to drill it in and make sure it works, let's put her in the same room as the old Grisabella, the fading, falling star. Well, in my day, are you doing that, honey? Well, I know him too, and interview is simply a formula. Let's hit record and type it up to make sure that both of you live. I tried to warn you. Hey, Marilyn's dead. She left Joe DiMaggio and JFK simultaneously. And she knew so much that we put her in a room and gave her some pills and let her candle in the wind expire. Your major industry here is weaponry and jails. And these screens are trying to convince you that it's such a great place. But let me tell you, it's right there in the song that they hypnotized. Have another hot dog. Tune in, watch the Super Bowl, and justify flipping Einstein and the proof that universal order exists. Time and space have a relationship, don't they? So let's just take that discovery and flip it into a weapon and justify the annihilation of Nagasaki and Hiroshima and inspire an entire network and epic archive of films by none other than George Lucas. Star Wars, isn't it? Star Wars that warns the children, now honey, don't press the button. This is the future speaking to you. And in the future, like in the past, there's nothing but rocks. Rocks, rock solid thinking, rock solid poetry, rock and roll culture, rock and roll culture, rock and roll, back and bowl, rock and roll, rock and roll. It's a hornet's nest. It's a beehive. It's a great big holistic place where all of the thoughts, the winds, tides, and currents, the algorithms of thought govern the market. And most of it, like your family tree and your trends and your thinking, are made of, just like Pinocchio, made of Beavis, Butthead, made of, he said it, wood. Buzz Lightyear? Is that you, Buzz? Wood. Alan, please make another film. Don't die. Leave us another film. Explain it to us. They don't know what they're doing. I forgive them, and I forgive you too. Bono and Sonny Bono and Cher and Cher alike, you little one raku puppet box. I forgive you. Would Al, you can be my bodyguard. I can call you. Bet you want to be a witch. What's the matter with you? Who'll be my role model now that my role model is gone? Duck down the alleyway with some roly-poly little rat-faced girl. The stars are so bright tonight, aren't they? I mean, you can always depend on the satellites to guide you home now. Don't get that road rage. And please, remember, it's artificial intelligence. It's learning from you. Now, please remember not to get GPS'd off at each other. 4, 3, 2, 1. Rock the cradle of civilization. Go ahead and make my day bright. And while you're at it, bring me a little cream for my coffee and rule the world with sweet, dark chocolate and toffee, Heath Bar Crunch, caramel macchiato, one big happy